and then we'll take your questions. Coach Smart?
Yep, we're excited as we begin today our prep for South Carolina. Shane has got the program rejuvenated. I know there's a lot of excited fans, and rightfully so. Their guys are playing extremely hard. First 2 games of the season, been able to watch those guys really compete and grow. Looks like a lot of new faces from last year. Seems like they've got a lot of guys that are either signees or portal transfer guys that have helped them roster-wise. So our guys are excited to start the SEC East. Anytime we play an SEC East opponent around here, we know that's a team we're going to play every year. To be able to play it at home and get a home opener in the SEC is exciting. I'm certainly thankful of our fan base and the turnout we had last week. I thought that atmosphere was awesome, and you don't always get that for non-conference opponents. So I know that this week will be even more special, and we'll need our fan base to help us out with the crowd noise and the environment.
All right, let's go to questions. Let's go to Chip Towers and then Anthony Dasher.
Coach, let me go ahead and get the fun questions out of the way. It's been a couple of days. You said it's day to day. What would you say the prognosis is for JT Daniels being back, being able to come back and compete for the job this week?
I don't know any more than I knew last time, Chip. He's been in treatment twice, and Ron said he certainly improved. He threw the ball Saturday more than he threw the ball all last week. So he was better Saturday than he was the previous days. I'll know a little more after practice today in terms of his mobility and his ability to move around and throw the ball. But I know he's been to treatment twice, and the update from Ron is he's definitely improved.
Hey, Coach, kind of stayed on that theme a little bit with different players. A couple of guys we didn't ask you about after the game. Saw Devontae Wyatt dressed out. Don't believe he saw any action. Saw Quay Walker maybe got dinged a little bit. And noticed also that Darnell and Tyke were not wearing the boots. I'm assuming that's a good thing, but was wondering what they would need to do to show you in practice this week that, hey, they may be ready to play.
Yeah, all those guys are working through different things. We're excited about Tyke and Darnell. They are out of their boots. They're able to do some weight-bearing running. They're going to be running some this week. And like I said, I'm so hopeful to get those guys back and get them back quickly. I think Ron had them scanned yesterday. Scan looked good. They're healing. Probably not optimistic that they'll be able to play this week, but hopeful we'll get them back soon. And they both they've been doing underwater running. They're out of the boot. They look better. They're able to go to meetings and things. But not sure exactly when we'll get them back. Just doubtful for this week.
All right. How about Seth Emerson and then Mike Griffith?
Kirby, I don't know if the run game and the push at the line was a huge concern for you. And I know that what goes into that is more than just the personnel on the line, but how much did you all consider maybe moving Jamari inside? How much would you consider that again?
It's something we look at each week. He practiced inside last week and didn't, played outside and rotated around there. But it's something we look at each and every week, trying to get our guys in the right pieces of the right puzzle. I think Broderick playing at tackle, gaining confidence there certainly helps give you that option. Broderick's really first substantial playing time outside of that games we had leads in last year. So as we improve and figure out who the best 5 are, we're trying to figure out the best way to obviously move people. That takes mass and strength, and also be able to protect so that we can throw the ball and finding the best 5. So Jamari will continue to rep in there and work in there and just see what we think the best 5 are.
Kirby, kind of a two-parter here. One, South Carolina has a bit of an unknown at their quarterback. Can you share what those quarterbacks do differently? And two, I know you use a lot of different motivations. Will you bring up what happened the last time South Carolina played in Sanford Stadium to the team at some point?
No, well, I mean, that was brought up some last year. I think it was more relevant last year. A lot more similarities in their team last year and their staff, with the exception of, Will being gone. But what happened the last time they were here was really about us, not about them. And it's always going to be about what we do and how we execute. we're trying to do that at the highest level. And whatever we can do this week in practice to be able to execute at a high level, that's what I want to focus on, not the other. As far as our quarterback situation, we got to see Luke last year. Dodie, he's an incredible athlete. He creates problems in terms of extending plays. He's a really good athlete, and he moved the pocket around against us last year in a different offense, but a good athlete. And, my man down the road right here, Zeb's done a good job. He's come in and played really well. It was interesting. I'm good friends with his dad, and getting to watch him play in those first 2 games was just unique because he played really well. And I'm like, this guy, was a GA, and he jumped in and played quarterback and played winning football, made good decisions, made good throws, and got to be pretty cool for him to get an opportunity to play at an SEC program after going into being a GA, and they use other guys at quarterback as well. And they do a good job changing it up, trying to give you a change of pace at that position.
All right, let's go to Mark Weiser and then Jake Rowe.
Kirby, how long has JT been dealing with, I guess, the oblique injury? And is it something you understand might linger, or what's the approach to handle that?
The approach is rest, recovery, and treatment. And we've done the best we can with that. The biggest thing that we've been told is you just don't want to aggravate it. He's been dealing with it since he felt it prior to Clemson. He felt like he had a twinge, but something happened in the Clemson game to fire it back up. We don't know. We've gone back and watched the tape. He didn't take a lot of shots, but there was one, the first play of the game that he took, that it may have made it worse than it was going into the game. But for whatever reason, he woke up Sunday, and that's when he really felt it. And it's a really, really painful injury that it's hard to relieve that pain. He has to heal, and it takes time. But again, he's improved with each and every day.
Kirby, I wanted to kind of follow up on what Dash was asking a minute ago. Devontae Wyatt, I just want to see if he was dealing with any sort of injury since he didn't get a chance to play on Saturday. Wanted to kind of see what the deal was there.
No, he's not dealing with an injury.
All right, let's go to Palmer Toms, and then we'll go to Mark Schleybaugh.
Yeah, Kirby, you brought up Will Muschamp and him being over here now. How big of an impact does that have this week? I know there's a lot of turnover on their staff and personnel.
We went out for 1 second. You said something about Will and the turnover on their staff?
Yeah, how big of an impact can he have this week in helping you all prepare for their team?
I don't know that. I mean, it's personnel based, right? We go through this all the time. We went through it with DK on Clemson. We go through it every year. Somebody changes spots. You guys write about it, make a big deal about it. And it's not that big a deal, really. He's not in their meetings. He doesn't know their game plan. He does know who their players are. And I just don't know how that helps you a lot. We know what their height, weights, and we got the tape, and the tape speaks for itself. He just might know more about them in terms of what strengths and weaknesses there are. So we always do personnel with somebody that knows other teams, and we get the personnel information. But at the end of the day, I think some of these kids can improve and get better, and they're a year older. So you don't always know exactly what they're like.
Kirby, Sam Pittman's obviously a guy you have a lot of respect for. Just can you talk about him as a coach? And I'm sure you're not surprised that their identity has been to mash people so far.
Yeah, Sam's a tremendous leader, a great man, one of the funniest, wittiest, humor person I've been around, and he did a great job for our organization. We wouldn't be where we are now without some of the guys that have had the opportunity to leave here and go on and grow and become, even head coaches and coordinators and things. And Sam fits that mold. He was part of the original crew that came in, and he and Jamie are special people to us, and I'm just happy to see him. I didn't get to see much of the game, but I heard they played really well, and excited for him and honored that he was here and happy that he helped build this place.
All right, let's go to Vance Levy and then to Catherine Lewis.
Kirby, last week it was all about attention to detail everywhere, was your quote. After looking at the film from this past Saturday's game? Obviously, the score is where we want it. How was the details, the deep details from this past weekend?
Well, we had some small goals for this week. The attention to detail came out of the Clemson game, and that was a big focus for that game. We came out of this week with some things we really wanted to work on. Communication on defense, I thought we improved that. We didn't improve our ability to stop the run and our technique. Offensively, we wanted to be explosive. Well, we were explosive, but we didn't have the communication and attention to detail and IDs and points and things that we need to have in order to be successful. And we got to figure out why that is, like what's causing that. Is it something they're doing? Is it something we can control? Because I actually came out of the game feeling better about our ability to run the ball from the Clemson game than I did this last week, in kind of the same way, and run defense. So, it's hey, give UAB some credit, but what can we do to improve in those areas?
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Coach Beamer and kind of how well did you get to know him while he worked with you as an assistant coach? And I know you have plenty of experience with it, but is it any different to coach against someone that you worked so closely with formerly?
Well, first off, I've known Shane for a long, long time. We were around the same age and kind of grew up as GAs and things together. And he interviewed with Nick one time a long time ago. We got to be friends, and we've always been close ever since. Got a lot of respect for his family and his dad. And, we both have been around Lake Oconee in the summers and always spent time together. So his family is friends of our family, and happy and excited for him to get the opportunity he's gotten at South Carolina.
All right, let's go to Zach Klein and then to Brandon Sudge.
I'm good, Claude. Thank you.
All right, Brandon.
Hey, Kirby, following up on Shane and everything, did he have any so were you able to see any qualities in him when he left you guys for Oklahoma that made you think he could be a head coach one day? Can you just speak on his value on your program over those couple of years that he was here, that he was here now?
Yeah, he was part of our original staff, like Sam was, and he's a guy that's always had good leadership skills. He ran most of our special teams. We divided him up a couple of years, but he ran most of our special teams while he was here. He's always had leadership qualities that would make a good head coach. And I think he took the job at Oklahoma so he'd get an opportunity like this, and that's what he's done.
Let's go to Jed May and then Connor Riley.
Hey, Kirby, one more Shane Beamer question. I wanted to ask you about him, I guess, as a recruiter when he was here with y'all. Just what kind of asset was he on the recruiting trail for y'all? And, are there any guys on this team now that, you feel he really helped land for you guys?
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what year he left. Y'all would have to tell me. I don't know if we've got anybody left that he was involved recruiting. That your team turns over so fast. So I don't think there were many guys that he recruited on the team we still have. But when he was here, he was a good recruiter. I mean, he worked hard at it, and I think that's 90% of being a good recruiter is what letter do you have on your chest, and what is the value of the organization you're selling. It's more than just the recruiter themselves. It's what you're recruiting them to, and we've got a special place here in terms of academics and community and the support we have, as well as facilities.
Hey, Kirby, what have you made of the play of Channing Tindall so far this year, especially as it seems like now he's getting a real playing time as a senior after waiting behind some guys that were drafted into the NFL?
Yeah, Channing's done a tremendous job. He's earned the trust and respect. He works really hard every day. Nobody comes out to practice with more toughness and effort. I mean, and the part that people don't see is he's been a major role on special teams for a while, and his confidence has grown within the defense. He's got tremendous speed and closing ability. I'm just so proud of someone who's worked so hard and done so much to be a good player, and he's producing. He's playing at a high level, and Coach Schumann's done a really good job of developing his talents. He came in early on and was transitioning from inside and outside backer in high school to playing just inside, and it's come a long way. And it just tickles me to death that he's been able to do this through hard work, because hard work does pay off.
All right, we got time for 2 more questions. We'll go to Ryan Curley and then Roddy Nabulsi.
Hey, Coach, I know it's a whether or not if JT will play on Saturday, but if he doesn't, is getting Carson involved again part of the plan, or is that something you're going to take day by day?
Yeah, you got to take it day by day, because I don't know. I can't answer that, because I don't know what JT's going to be able to do in terms of volume and reps and things. So sure, I'd love to be able to keep Carson involved and keep him involved in the plan, but I don't know where those reps are going to go. It's hard to prepare 3 quarterbacks. I can tell you that.
Kirby, you mentioned previously that you didn't want to have both of your centers on the starting offensive front, but you've also said that you got to have your best 5 out there. You started out with your best 5, then you were able to move them around. You were asked about the tackles. Can you talk a little bit about the interior offensive line, and after watching game film, how you feel they fared when you moved some guys around? I'm not going to ask you to give you a preview of who you have lined up this Saturday, but can you kind of give us a recap of where the team stands now on the O-line?
Yeah, like we started last week with Warren at right guard, Jamari at left tackle, that we didn't practice. We did a lot of work during the week in terms of preparing for guys to play different spots. Like I said, Jamari has taken snaps, some at center early in camp, but he's taken some at guard as well. Schaefer has been kind of the constant over there, and Warren has kind of been the constant over at right tackle and Schaefer at left guard. The backups came in, I thought did a decent job. I want to see them play more aggressive and physical, talking about Devin Willick, Chad Lindbergh, Owen Condon, Amarius. They got to play more than your normal amount of playing time. So those guys got to grow and get better, but I want to see them play more physical and play aggressive and play with reckless abandon. It was, some of them were in there for the first time and they were playing a little more timid and getting their first playing experience. Some of them this year, some of them all together. But we'll continue to look at those starting guys and figure out the best puzzle pieces to put in. The decision won't be based just on Warren being a center. He's not going to be, punished because, I'm the center or Van Pran's the center. We're going to put the best 5 out there. But we got to play better up front. And I think those guys will be the first to tell you that. It's not all about ability. Some of it's about dependability. And we got to do a better job of moving people and being physical up front so that we can open up some stuff in the run game.